the Cerebral Entertainment Podcast.
Hey everybody. Welcome back to yet another riveting edition of the Cerebral Entertainment Podcast. I am James, and with me, as always, is my good friend Colt.
Yes, sir.
And back in the studios again. 2 weeks in a row.
This can't continue, right? There's no way. Something's going to have to get in the way, I'm sure.
Yeah, something. I'm not sure. This momentum that we have, though, it might be unstoppable.
Okay. We're just rolling down the hill.
Yep. No, yeah, it's good to be in person again. I do like the Zoom thing. I know we talked about this not too long ago, but Zoom versus in person.
Mm-hmm.
When we talked about it while we were Zooming. Now we're in person.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about it one more time. What do you like better, Zoom or in person?
Probably in person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just more personable.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
I mean, it really is. There's no possibility for delay.
I wouldn't go that far, but
yeah. Well, okay.
I hear what you're saying.
Good point. Yeah. It's just easier.
Yeah.
I think the flow is just better, and people can see that when they watch.
Yeah. Yeah. By delay, you mean no lagging of the internet, which there is no possibility of that. But yeah, I mean, in person, the dynamic is still better. The flow is better because we are right here, like 2 feet away from each other. So that helps.
Speaking of that, though, have you do you ever? Okay, so like over the past year, 2 years, whatever, when lockdown kind of started and like bigger comedians and bigger celebrities who have podcasts and stuff like that started doing podcasts through Zoom and things like that. Have you listened to some where they just didn't they put out regardless, even though there was like bad internet connections or something like that, to where you hear a lot of lag and stuff like that? I've heard like big name comedians podcasts that just sound god awful that I couldn't even get through.
I haven't heard any.
Like, why?
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
It should still be about quality. You know what I'm saying?
If I can't stand to listen to it because the quality is so bad, then you have a problem.
Yeah.
As do we. If we put out something with bad quality, how can you really expect people to listen to it? You know, if it's got the crackling sounds or if it's got the lag, and a little bit of lag's one thing. You know, if it happens every so often, I mean, that's going to happen, even with the best internet services and the nicest weather and all that good stuff. But if it's constant, if it's consistent, and if it's the norm rather than the exception, then you've got a problem, man. I can't stick with that. I just can't do it.
Right.
I don't care who it is.
Or at least go through and edit out everything that you can. You know what I mean? Like it's just, and I mean, we're also coming at it from a podcaster point of view too, of course. So there's that. And I know that there is a big difference between when you're used to listening for quality and being just a regular podcast listener, I think.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember for sure, but I still remember like hearing before we even started podcasting, I was a listener, and I still remember hearing quality that I really couldn't hang with. Like it doesn't take long to get to know the difference. The same with music, right?
Yeah.
If you listen to somebody who records music, but the production quality sucks, then chances are, I mean, you're like, that's probably a good song, but the sound of it just isn't good, or you know, the distortion was overpowering the vocals or whatever, you know. And maybe not everybody has an ear for that, but I kind of feel like we always have, but it's definitely gotten more sensitive since we started recording ourselves because we became so in tune with everything, like, you know, the ums and whatnot.
I'm sure there's a reason for it, or maybe I'm just crazy, but a band that both of us really like, Chevelle, don't you feel like the music overpowers vocals in most everything that they do?
I don't.
You don't think so?
I don't feel like it.
Really?
Are you talking about just like in the volume, or are you talking about the overall intensity of the music?
Both.
Versus really?
Both. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like if I hear a new song from them and I'm trying to hear the lyrics or hear the words, it's hard for me to do that because the music behind them is so overpowers their voice. Okay. And how do I fix that? I try to turn it up, which makes it worse because I'm a moron.
Right. Now I do feel like it's kind of, he's one of those people, Pete, is one of those people that's kind of more difficult to understand the lyrics of a lot of his lyrics. It's hard to understand a lot of the words of his lyrics.
Yeah.
That's just kind of by the nature of the way he sings, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But really, the band Chevelle, like, he is like the man for that band.
Yeah.
You have that with bands, right? Like some of them, the guitar player is really a standout. Some of them, the drummer is really a standout. A lot of them, the lead guy is the standout. But like, he is Chevelle, right? If it weren't for him, then the band would just be a band, and not, no disregard, no disrespect to the other guys. He's just the driving force. It's like Breaking Benjamin, something like that. So I just feel like that he is the standout. So I don't feel like he's overpowered, and I don't feel like he's like the volume is mismatched for him either. I feel like that it's the way it should be. But I think it is kind of hard to understand the lyrics.
Well,
so
that's
what I would get from it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's intentional, the way they do things.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's like on accident, but it's just, I don't know. I just feel a difference from that band versus other bands.
Some bands like that, I feel like they mix the voice just like another instrument as opposed to showcasing the voice itself.
That makes sense.
It's just mixed in as if it is just this, on an even keel with all the other instruments in the band.
Yeah.
So I feel like Chevelle's mixed that way. I'm positive it's on purpose because it's the way it's always been.
Yeah, which
I
guess it depends on what you really look for when you're listening to music also. Like, most musicians probably think that it's perfect because they want that, like, balance between the being able to hear, like, somebody who picks out, like, okay, this is the bass, this is the drums, this is the, versus not just hearing the lead singer and that's it. Yeah. So maybe that's, a lot of musicians probably think it's a perfect balance.
I feel like also it's a better representation of what you're going to hear live too, because when you go to a concert, most of the time the vocalist isn't as well, it's not as crisp, right? It's not as well defined as it is on the CD, whatever you're listening to, the audio, the digital on your iPhone, whatever it is. It's not as crisp, and so therefore it suffers a lot, because the mix isn't nearly as good as what it is. Of course, it's not as polished as what it is from the studio, but you don't hear it as well, right? 9 times out of 10, maybe 8 times out of 10, the lyrics, the front man, the singer, is the weakest link in a live show. Because the band is so loud, and it's hard to get for the acoustics of the room that you're in. Sometimes it's a stadium, an auditorium. Sometimes it's outside. It's very difficult to mimic what you get in the studio. And so, to me, it's always been the singer that suffers the most in a live show. And when you can hear someone that's really good live, it's usually because the singer really shines through. They really sound good, and that's not just the singer though. That's the entire crew. The sound crew that's making that happen. And maybe they're at the whims of the acoustics of the atmosphere, whether it's outside or an auditorium or whatever. Even sometimes a small room can be hard because there's so much bounce off of the walls that it's difficult to engineer the sound in different kinds of rooms like that. And so,
I don't think like crew guys get enough credit for all of that either, because, you go to a concert and say there's 4 main bands that are there that you're ready, you're pumped to listen to. Everybody hates the in-between, right? Like when you have one band who just played, they're breaking down, and then you have to bring in another band, get all their stuff ready to go and all that. Like, the fact that they can do it in such a short amount of time as they do, it may be 15 or 20 minutes in between bands, but 20 minutes to like get a band going from scratch basically is pretty impressive.
Yeah. I think they have a lot of presets and things nowadays. They do, but they do a lot of work before the show even starts though.
Yeah.
And then they got to keep it going too. But for a lot of your smaller venues and a lot of your smaller time bands or whatever, you're exactly right. They have to switch back back to whatever it was that the levels that they had tested out previously. I assume they do.
Yeah.
That for most bands, if not all.
Well, you just have to think that every band's going to be different too. Like,
Yeah.
if you go to a Point Fest or something like that, you may have all of the stuff set up for 4 different bands already on the stage. And then like as one band gets done, you break their stuff down, then you go on to the next thing that's on there. But you go to a small venue or something like that, it's like, no, we're breaking down everything
Right.
that the last band had, and we're going to build from ground up for the next band, and we need to do this in about 20 minutes. That's
A lot goes into it.
it's crazy.
You know, and even the amount, like, it sounds different when there's a room full of bodies in there too.
Yeah.
Than it does if the room is empty, and so they have to adjust accordingly when the crowd's there as well.
Yeah.
So it's awesome, it's interesting, but it's also when things go south, you don't want to be the guy behind the board because everybody's turning around like this, looking at the guy. If you know that. If you have an understanding that they're back there working, trying to make the sound just right, and something goes wrong, you look back there. It's like, come on, dude, what are you doing back there? May or may not be that person's fault, even. And things happen.
It always makes me like cringe a little bit whenever, say the board's across the room or something like that, right? And then it's like for the first 3 songs, you see random guys in the band just making these motions up, pointing up or something like that. Like, I need my volume. I can't hear anything, and I've seen smaller bands that maybe get to play 4 songs before the next band comes on. And the majority of all of that was you could, the mic sounded terrible and things like that just because they couldn't get it figured out before they went on. And at that point, I would rather just not go on. Like if I'm going to sound like crap up here, why would I want, especially if it's new people in the crowd that have never seen me play before, why would I want this to be their first, sounding like that? Why would I want that to be the first time they heard me? So
there's a lot of things that can go wrong. Usually when they're pointing up like this, it's because they can't hear themselves in the monitor.
Yeah.
So that also like stifles your confidence because if you can't hear yourself, I mean, it just you hope you're doing the right thing and in the right time with everybody. And even though you practiced a bunch, you still want to be able to hear that. So any little thing can throw you off like that. And then sometimes you can hear yourself, but the people out in the crowd can't hear you,
right?
Because it's a different speaker that you're coming through there, monitor versus the PA system. So it's a lot. It's nerve wracking.
Yeah,
but when you go to see a good show, man, it's all worth it.
Absolutely.
To hear it come across well. It's a difficult task, though. How's the gym going, Matt?
Early.
Yeah, the gym is going early.
The gym is going early. It's not been too bad. I mean, it's really, I get up about an hour and a half earlier than I normally would. So if I got to be at work at 6, normally up by 3:30, leave the house by about 4-ish, get to the gym about 4:15, 4:30, somewhere around there. Give myself about 10 to 15 minutes for cardio, and then lift for, somewhere around 45 minutes, somewhere. That math might not have added up really, but in my head it did.
Close enough.
Good thing about going early, not many people there.
Yes.
And the people that are there, I know. Like our good friend Jeff Huck, he's there at around 5 o'clock every morning. So if there is anybody there that if I feel like talking to anyone at 5 o'clock in the morning, I do have a few people that I can talk to. Other than that, it's going well.
How many times you going per week?
Right now, about 3 to 4. I'm trying for 4. It's just very easy to get to like 8 o'clock at night and you're not in bed yet, and you're thinking, I'm gonna go ahead and skip in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm trying my hardest to stay away from doing that. But with a newborn, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. So I'm doing what I can. But for the past like 3 weeks, I've been at least 3 times in the week. So
good.
I'm doing all right
so
far.
Good.
Still getting in the cardio and that kind of stuff, getting my diet back on track and all that. So I'm about 8 pounds away from my goal. And that's not going down in weight, that's going up in weight.
Right.
Trying to hit 215 just because I want to get to 215. I want to hold there and see what I look like if I actually have my diet on point and lifting it how I need to 3 to 4 days a week and things like that. So
good.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Excited to see how things are gonna progress from here.
Good deal.
Because then the part is you get to 215. I'm gonna have to come back down. That's where fun comes in. So we'll see how that see how all that goes. I still gotta look pretty good for beach season, right?
Absolutely.
And that's gonna be here faster than I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But all the peanut butter fudge is done now. You know, all the holiday cookies are gone and all that kind of stuff. So it makes it a lot easier.
It does.
Which I've never been really a sweet guy that much. I mean, I love it, but I still don't. You know, it's just like soda. It's just like a not something that I reach for constantly all the time.
Yeah.
If somebody says, "Hey, I have donuts. Do you want one?" Sometimes I'll be like, I mean, a jelly donut sounds phenomenal. But a lot of times it's like, no thanks. I'm good. I don't really need it.
Yeah, I can, for the most part, I can just stay away from sweets. It's like, it's not something that I really like sit around and think, man, I wish I had something sweet to eat. But if they're around, if I start, let me put it that way, because I can even look at something and be like, yeah, that looks good, but I don't really want it. It's not even really a struggle for me most of the time. It's just there. I see it. I just don't have this overwhelming urge. But when I start, if I take a bite, if I go at it, then that's when I start going to town. It's like crack. Yeah. It's like smoking crack. Yeah. It's like once you start, you know what I mean with smoking crack.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just weird. It's weird that it's not like when you're hungry, it's weird that we crave certain things, I think, right? Like if I look at my pantry and I'm craving something sweet, I can look at that versus something healthier. And my mind says sweet sounds a lot better.
Yes.
And then you want to gravitate towards that. And even to where the fact that if you actually pick the healthier thing, when you're eating it, you're like, this is not sweet. I wish this was sweet. It's not. Yes. However, in the end, your body's going to be the same. It's going to be full, right? Like you're going for a common goal. A goal is to be full. If you're hungry, it is to be full. But do you use the donut to get you there, or do you use, the chicken breast to get you there, or whatever?
So the crazy part about this is that this is all the brain in action, right? And it's compartmentalized because you have part of your brain that's saying, I want the dopamine rush of that sugar. That's the reward that I want, is that sugar rush, that feeling I get when I bite into that donut. And it tastes so good, and you can feel the sugar coursing through my veins like a drug, versus a part of the brain which is saying, no, I have goals to reach, and that is my reward, is that intrinsic feeling of satisfaction and achievement, knowing that I reached my goals of getting to 215 pounds and looking good. Speaking of you, of course, because I have surpassed 215 pounds. I'll get to that in a minute. But it's the same brain inside your head that's fighting the same battle, because it almost sounds like two different entities, right? Almost like two different people, but it's not. It's the same brain. Part of your brain wants that, that reward from the sweets. And the other part of your brain is struggling to say, no, that's not what we're here to do, man. We're here to reach that goal of looking fit and feeling better overall versus that immediate gratification that the other part of the brain is seeking to get. So it's brain versus brain. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day too. Like who we follow on social media, I think affects more than we think. Like as far as like what we I was thinking about this because I follow The Rock, of course, on social media, right? But like on Instagram, it seems like all the time he posts like a picture of a glass of Terramana tequila and it shows a cheat meal, right? He could post something. He could post like 10 things a day. And if the only thing that I see in the week is like his cheat meals, it's going to look like he is just cheating all the time. Like he's eating waffles and donuts and cookies all the time. But that is like one of the most dedicated people and motivational people in the world. And like, that's probably only a once a week thing. But if you're not like really in tuned and paying attention, you may think, well, if The Rock can do it and look like that, I can do that. I can eat waffles. I can eat cookies and all that kind of stuff. And that's not really how it works. But I was thinking about that the other day when I seen his post, because I think I'd only seen maybe 2 or 3 posts that week. And I was thinking, man, it seems like he talks about cheat meals all the time, but it's really probably one day a week that he may post something about it. So I don't know. I just think maybe people don't. It's important to, like, who you follow to know how to follow them, if that makes any sense.
I think so.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're following people for a reason.
Yeah.
If there's some purpose behind it, if you're intentional about who you're following and why, then you're going to follow them more intently, right? As opposed to just every once in a while they pop up and you see the waffles and donuts. You're like, well, how does a rock do that, man? He's got some crazy good genetics because he eats all those donuts and tequila, and he looks like he does and works like he does, with the kind of stamina that he has. Obviously, that you follow him intently, it's not the case, because when you do follow someone, you want to know more about them. Like if The Rock is very interesting to follow around because he leads a very interesting life, very charmed life, but he works hard. He's just not somebody who fell into it and then just has everything handed to him. He's everything that he does has got a lot of value to it, but it looks like he really, really works hard at it. So there's something to be said for that, as opposed to following some yahoo, who knows, hard to even narrow anything down from all the craziness that you could follow out there. But The Rock's a good one, and his routines are good. His diet is good. Everything is that he does has got a lot of value to it. So what else have you taken into your routine that is helping you right now? Anything new that you'd like to share with the crowd?
The biggest thing is probably just like cutting back on like stimulants and stuff like that pre-workout. Even though it's in the morning and you would think, well, he's in there, 4 o'clock in the morning, maybe he would think I'd be drinking more. I'd be taking more pre-workouts and things like that.
Right.
Trying not to. It just it crashes me. Sometimes it's hard to walk out the door knowing I have pre-workout sitting on my shelf that I could be like, maybe if it could give me that little extra oomph I need. But most of the time when I get in the gym, if I'm in there for 10 or 15 minutes, if I get on the treadmill or the stair stepper for a little bit, I'm kind of about as ready to go as I'm going to get. And I'm just trying to cut down on caffeine. I'll still drink some coffee here and there. And I'm actually trying to put coffee in the place of pre-workout for the most part in the morning. Maybe drink like a cup of coffee before I go to the gym, or after I go to the gym, like when I get to work, maybe down a cup of coffee or something. But I don't know. I just think it's not as needed as people think it is. It's good. It's cool energy. It's just good to get that energy. But at a certain point, you just get like the tingly feeling when you get in there, and that's about it. Like you're not on, like really on fire anymore like you used to be, or there's a meme out there that talks about energy drinks, and it talks about how it sucks when like you're just so used to drinking energy drinks that at a certain point your heart rate raises, but nothing else happens. So it's like you can just feel your heart beating faster, but you don't have any more energy. You're still dying. Like you still need energy, but now
you're just tired with a rapid heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
I'm a big coffee drinker. That's no secret. So I love coffee. I'll always have coffee. But when it comes to pre-workout, for me, it's more of I save it for sometimes when like it's almost like a treat. Almost like a treat when I know I'm going to work a particular body muscle group, and I'm like, I'm gonna drink this and then go to town in there today and get that like super big pump and get full of energy and just really, really rip through it. And I still enjoy that quite a bit, But caffeine, you're going to build a tolerance to it. And obviously pre-workout's no exception.
Yeah.
If you do it every day, you'll have to drink more and more, and eventually it's just going to be like that energy drink where it's not really providing you with any value.
Yeah. It's
just become a part of your habit, part of your routine. And overall, it might even, time will tell if it's even an unhealthy routine when you do it every day, day after day after day. So I will probably never stop drinking coffee unless like there is something medically contraindicated about me continuing to drink coffee. Like it's going to take something major.
Yeah.
But I have cut down. I've cut down from well over a pot, probably a pot and a half, sometimes 2 pots a day, just down to I fill up my Yeti, however many ounces that, probably 20 ounces of coffee per day. It's not even a full pot, and I drink that from the morning sometime into around noon.
Yeah.
And then typically I stop, which is a reduction for me. And I think that it's better, even though after a while drinking coffee is just drinking coffee. It's not picking me up usually the entire time I'm drinking it. I just really enjoy it. But, I don't think it would hurt to cut down a little bit.
I don't remember the brand now, but I ordered some new coffee that's got it could all be branding. I don't know, but I bought it anyways. It's supposed to have nootropics in it and some other good things, but like the brand has several different kinds. Like one is like for women, that's like it's called beauty coffee or something like that. I think it's got like collagen and stuff like that for hair, skin, and nails. They got a keto coffee that's got MCT oil and some extra things in it like that. Mm-hmm. I'll never know what's actually in it. The supplement industry has got me so torn between everything, something has a really cool label and you're like, oh, that's got to be awesome. But then the label says it's what's the word? They don't tell you what all the ingredients are. It's like a blend. Proprietary blend. Yeah. I try to stay away from those as much as possible because you have no idea.
Well, some labels do give you the ingredients within a proprietary blend, though.
Well, see, now
like
that's
they'll
okay.
say that, and then they'll give you the actual ingredients within that blend. So that's pretty good still. But if they just say proprietary blend and that's it, yeah, I agree. It's like, you gotta know what's in that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just everything. We've talked about it over and over again, but like proteins and stuff like that, some even of your big name companies have gotten in trouble for amino and carb spiking proteins and things like that, to where what the label says isn't actually what's in that, but they fill it with cheaper stuff so they can make a profit off of it, even though it's not exactly the amount of protein they say that's in there or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think that the supplement industry has gotten me thinking that way towards everything. So I don't know what's in this freaking coffee that I bought. It may just be Folgers. I don't know.
Sounds good though.
Yeah.
You said the magic word coffee.
Yeah.
So I'm hooked.
If I get some extra focus out of it, even if it's a placebo effect, at least it worked. So whatever.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with coffee anyway. Coffee in and of itself is good. It's almost like a nootropic anyway for me. Mm-hmm. Like, especially just there's peak times when I drink coffee where I am just like a Jedi. I'm tuned in, man. And it's that when that caffeine hits just right, it's beautiful. And nothing does that for me like coffee. Nothing. I can drink energy drinks. I can drink tea, whatever has pre-workout. It doesn't matter. There's nothing for me like coffee. There's something magical and special about coffee. I'm just going to lay it out there right now.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful bean. It's a magic bean.
Yeah.
And it takes me places. I just love it. It somehow creates a kind of focus in me at the right time where the world just the universe just coalesces and seems to be working just right. But
where energy drinks have gotten a downfall for me is like, I can say I drink a cup of coffee in the morning, then I go to the gym, and then I get to work and I've been there for an hour, let's say, and I haven't had much water, but I'm like, I'm dreading the day. Like I need some energy. So I go get me a Monster, 300 milligrams of caffeine. I come in and, I sip on it for a little while thinking, well, I don't want to get like crazy. Just sip on it for a while. And then all of a sudden I'm halfway through the day and I realize I haven't had any water. Like I barely had any water all day long. I have a cup of water, a shaker cup full of water while I'm in the gym.
Yeah.
But that's early in the morning. And then I get halfway through the day and I'm like, dude, I haven't had much water today. I need to flip the script here and I need to start downing water. Mm-hmm. Well, I can't just waste the Monster. So then I down the rest of the Monster as fast as possible so I can switch over to water. And then it's like I'm spazzing for about 15 minutes and then I start crashing. So now I'm just like, I need to just replace it with water.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just feel like coffee's a healthier source.
It is. Yeah. Coffee has other, benefits as well. Coffee has a certain amount of antioxidants in it, for instance. And it's good. It's natural. It's a bean, right? Mm-hmm. So it's ground up. I even recommend grinding your own beans, dude. Like if you want a good cup of coffee, I have a little grinder at the house, and you buy some good whole beans, and you grind it up, and you put that in your coffee maker, and you brew it. It's the freshest tasting coffee that you'll ever drink is when you do that, because it's just, once again, it's a magical bean. So it's just a bean that comes from the earth, and you grind it and you ground it, whatever, you grind it, whatever.
A lot of G's.
And then you drink it, right? And you drink it. Whereas your energy drinks, even when they add some of the other stuff in there that's around the top of the can, It's not natural, and they have to sweeten it. And I drink my coffee black as the night itself.
Yeah.
I don't add anything, no sweeteners, no sugars, no creamers, nothing. Just as God intended it, just black in a cup, and I love it. And it's just natural. Like I said, there's something healthy about it as long as you're not overdoing the caffeine, because you can dehydrate yourself. Of course, that's not good for your organs. And you can kind of drive yourself batty, too, with just caffeine. I've gotten to where I've drank too much, and it caused me some mental problems for a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
It's like things are echoing in my head, and I like fogginess almost.
Yeah.
And everything is fuzzy, and I know that's not healthy. So you got to watch out for that. But otherwise, man, coffee is where it's at.
But I get that foggy if I don't have it, like have a little bit of caffeine throughout the day too, right? So I got to find the middle ground most days.
Yeah.
And I notice that. Like I notice even when you're just like standing talking to somebody and you can just tell like you're easily zoning out, or your brain is just foggy, like you're not on high alert. And I feel like most adults aren't on like high alert all the time.
Yeah.
Or very often even, like I feel like my head's foggy more than it's not.
Yeah.
And I don't know if maybe I just need to try to really hone in on what I need and how much I need of it each day to keep me in that zone all day long. I don't know.
I know what the key is. Now, having said that, I have no idea how to achieve
Okay.
the optimal like positioning to use this key. But the key is it's consistency, man. It is when and I've noticed myself saying it a lot more. It's so funny. I started saying it as a joke, sounding like Joe Rogan, and now I'm catching myself saying man a lot. Anyway, I've noticed that when, like for instance, I can get a good night's sleep, I wake up the next day, I drink just maybe even half of my Yeti full of coffee, right? And I feel like I'm just good, man. I'm on a good flow. I've got a good, I'm on a good wave. And so I just stop. But then the day goes on, I get home, something happens, and I don't get to go to bed at my usual time, which my usual time, unfortunately, is a window of time. And sometimes I can't make it in that window. And when I do, I'm up too late. Then I'm really tired the next day. And so I'm going through that Yeti of coffee. I'm still feeling sluggish, and things are off, right? And that inconsistency has got me on a roller coaster. If I could stay consistent with the same bedtime, and a lot of people preach this, right? Same bedtime, same wake-up time. And when you can do that, then you can regulate everything else in your day to coincide with what you need in order to, achieve that optimal level of performance during that day. But if you don't get that consistency in your sleep routine, you don't get to standardize what the ingredients of your day every day, right? And so you got to mix it up just to supplement, just to make up for lack of sleep.
Right.
Sometimes, maybe too much sleep, if that's a thing.
Right. Well, it takes a long time just to figure out the sleep thing too, right? Because there are people out there that legitimately 4 hours of sleep a night is all they need.
I hate them. I hate every one of them.
To completely function fine. Like that's all they need. And there's some people who need 8 hours.
Yeah.
I don't really know where I'm at, to be honest. And the reason why is because I'm inconsistent for sure. But sometimes I can get 6 hours of sleep and be perfectly fine the next day. Sometimes I get 6 hours of sleep and I'm dead. And I so I don't really know without for sure getting like if I could get a week of just 6 hours of sleep, I maybe be able to figure out exactly if that's enough or not. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just inconsistent.
I know enough to know that 7 hours of sleep for me is optimal.
Yeah.
It's just perfect. But I can't just get 7 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
For one thing, I have kids, and that doesn't make things easy. But another thing is I have a pretty wicked sleep disorder, right? I can't stay asleep. My mind doesn't shut off. It's just a lot of issues. And I know I need to probably continue to try and tweak on those issues a bit. And I have, I've started more, which I've had a good routine before in the past, gotten away from it. It's a flip-flop roller coaster, unfortunately. And having young kids doesn't help because I've never been able to really get them on a good routine because my son has a sleep disorder as well, except his is even much worse than mine.
Yeah.
His daily cycle is just crazy. But I know that, I can see it. It's like I can see consistency being the thing that will fix it. But it's just out of my reach, it feels like.
Yeah.
But however you can, make sure that you are as consistent as possible based off of the lifestyle that you have. And if you can correct anything, if you can achieve a more well-rounded, homeostasis within your life and get that routine, get those solid components, those ingredients for your day based off of your consistent sleep routine, then I think that you're going to be able to live more optimally within that level of focus that you say that you don't see in most grown-up people, because we're all tired and worn out and work too hard and paid too less, and
all those do definitely play a factor. But we talked about before, like diet, how if you're going to diet, if you're not someone who is good with diets, the best way is not to just engulf yourself in it. The best way is to add something here or take something away here and there for a little while, get that routine set, then go to the next thing, eliminate this or add this or whatever, see how things work. I think it's the same kind of situation, like figure out, add an hour more of sleep if possible every night, and just for a while, and see if that's what it is.
Yeah.
Or in other cases, if you're somebody who is extremely busy, try to go from 7 hours to 6 hours of sleep and see if you function. Some people may function higher with a little less sleep. Just find small things, try to add or take away something in your life, see how that works for you consistently. And then, then go to the next thing, then go to the next thing. Don't just like flip your life over.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to run yourself into the ground.
And you're not going to know what really works or not.
Yeah.
Because if you completely change everything around, say you've got 10 components altogether that you change in an effort to try to like be more consistent and perform at that higher level of focus, you might have flipped over several things that worked, but there might be 2 or 3 things that still aren't working the greatest, that you don't know if you're still really to your optimal level.
Right.
Or maybe maybe it didn't work, but there were some things that changed that were actually good, but components A, B, and C are still the ones that are really keeping you down, but you don't know which are which,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So you need to have a scientific method to it and change a little bit at a time. Like with sleep, I already know that some of the things I've got to do. And I'm working on them. I think it does pay to cut the blue light out, which is any of your screens, your TVs, your phones, whatever. I think cutting that out sooner is going to help you to get to sleep better. Reading before you go to bed, I think, is another thing. Drinking a tea. I have some herbal teas that I've been drinking, and some detoxifying teas. And trying some different things out and seeing how they work. But I've been doing this one step at a time. I've been reading before I go to bed now again, which I've always loved to do that, because reading makes me sleepy. And so I'll be reading something during the day and I'll be nodding off. I'm like, why don't I do this right before I go to bed?
Right.
That would be helpful.
Yeah.
So anyway, just these different components that you start using a little bit at a time. That way you can see what works and what doesn't, and if something doesn't work, then you move on to the next thing. If it does work, keep doing it, go for that consistency, and then see if you need something else to supplement it, and just until you get to that optimal level.
Right, and then there are times where one thing may help another thing too, like caffeine. If you're taking in caffeine at 6 o'clock at night every night and you're not sleeping well, okay, let's move that back to 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Don't have a cup of coffee after 4 o'clock, and see if you get an extra hour of sleep or something like that. Like, I think that if you start adding or taking away like one small thing, it could affect another thing, and you may see advancement somewhere else by taking something away.
Yeah.
So
I think another good thing about the approach that we're talking about as well is the fact that you do gain momentum. When something starts to work, you really start to gain momentum from that. So, for instance, if I really notice that reading one of the books several books that I'm like kind of in the middle of right now, when I'm reading that and I notice I'm getting a little bit better sleep, but maybe it's not quite enough, but I'm starting to feel better. So it makes me want to do more to feel better, because I got that taste of what it feels like to get a little bit more rest. And when you're not well rested and you get that little bit of rest, it feels so good. And so to be able to grow on that, that goes for anything, working out, reading just for the sake of reading, not just for rest, but to actually expand your brain and expand your knowledge base. It's just, to get that momentum can be helpful because it gets the ball rolling.
Right.
It's at some point in time, it's like you're rolling downhill. Now you really got some speed, and you want to keep that going. But one of the things that I'm doing in the gym is, well, I'm eating a lot before I get to the gym, all around. I'm at my highest weight. Last time I weighed in, it was right at 223, and but I'm in the gym 4 to 5 days per week, and so I'm getting bigger too. But I'm also a little fat, a little fatter than what I want. Which it's okay, like you said, it's time. The sweet season has passed. The fudge is almost gone for me. It's relatively gone. Everything, and I can feel the change, in the winds of my diet. It's time. I get to a point to where I get burnt out on sweets anyway. It's like I really enjoy them, but then there's a time where it's like, you know what, I don't even really care for it right now anymore. And so it works out well because I get kind of a respite. And during that break, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
True.
And so later down the road, when I eat a sweet again, it's like really good. It's like the treat it's supposed to be, as opposed to the norm that when I'm eating it all the time. And it seems to happen to me every holiday season, and this one is definitely no exception. But I've really been eating just a lot of food in general. I'm also taking a lot of protein right now. I'm on a good protein regimen. Nothing like excessive, but just back to where when I am on my full workout routine, like when I'm going full time, that's where I'm at right now, and with the food intake that I have right now. So it's a lot. So I weigh a lot right now.
Yeah.
But I'm just really focusing on staying in the gym and just getting a good pump, getting a good workout. Since you and I had split again, we worked out together there for a good long time. Now I'm by myself again, so I'm not pushing the really heavy weights again, like you and I were there for a while. I'm back to higher reps, a little bit lower weight. Plus, I'm still, about my elbow issue that I've had. It's better, but now my shoulder issue, my left side's back.
Lovely.
Yeah. So I'm not trying to exacerbate anything any further, trying to keep things, because I don't want to stop. I feel like I'm in a good spot. I got momentum. So I don't want to push things too hard, but I am growing, as well as, outward in this region, as my belly region too is growing outward, but not to a point to where I'm working hard. So I don't feel like it's going to be like, once I really tune in and get my diet where it needs to be, and I actually try to start cutting a little bit, I feel like I'm going to be okay.
I mean, I watched you like over the past 2 years. It's not really that hard for you to cut down. If you're on a strict and consistent diet and your cardio's on point, it doesn't take. Now, the older you get, that's going to get harder. Yeah. But I've seen you drop pounds pretty easily. I've seen you getting pretty dang slim for at probably middle of last year, like summer of last year, mainly because you knew you were going to Florida and you wanted to look good before you went to Florida. But I watched you do it, and it's not that difficult for you to do it. Once you get in the mindset, you stay there pretty easily.
Yeah. And other than that, I'm not doing anything different. Taking my vitamins, I take a whole food multi, I take a vitamin D, I take a vitamin C, and then I take a fish oil, and then sometimes I do a pre-workout. I've been taking my protein a lot. I've been taking those, and I've just really been eating a lot of food, and that's been my workout. And I felt good for the most part. Another thing that I've done is did my first visit at the health bar in Deloge.
Okay.
So have we talked about the health bar yet?
That's one over by the new Anytime Fitness, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So just the other day, I was going just to scope it out, and so I just booked for a half hour in the infrared sauna, which I like. Very nice little sauna, dry sauna, and they have Netflix in there. So watch a little
cool
9/11 documentary while I was sweating.
Oh, okay, whatever.
But then I'm really interested in the cryotherapy. They have a cryo chamber there, and I got to watch. Actually, Al Kinnan was there with his wife. Okay. I think it's his wife, his lady, and he was talking to me about the cryo, and he does it every day. He swears to it. Says that he would get cortisone shots, I think, in both of his elbows and one of his shoulders, or vice versa, something like that, like every other week or something. And he hasn't had to do it in 2 years because of cryo.
That's awesome.
So I'm going to go see next Saturday. I'm going to go, and I will report back with you how it goes.
I'm excited.
And after one, she said, try it out. as far as the frequency goes, you don't really know. Everybody's different, of course. Everybody has different needs, different levels of activity. But I'm going to go and see how one does me, and see how often I might need it, and see if I don't want to make a routine out of it.
Any idea what the price range is on that?
Yeah, like it's different depending on your frequency. One time is $35, just for it's a 2 to 3 minute session, right? Because it's so cold.
Yeah,
like you don't want to be in there any more than that.
Yeah, it's like for anybody who doesn't know what cryotherapy is, it's like you get in a big tank and it gets down to what negative. You know what it goes down to? It's very cold.
Very cold. I'm not sure. I don't even want to say, but I remember it was severely cold.
Yeah, you literally can't stay in there longer than like 2 minutes because of like frostbite and stuff like that. Yeah, it can be really bad, but it's supposed to be extraordinary for inflammation and things like that. If I could, like I'm pretty, two things that I'm pretty consistent with is chiropractic appointments, and I've been getting deep tissue muscle massages, which I've been doing that too.
Yeah,
I think cryotherapy could be another good. If I could add cryotherapy in, and then every once in a while throw in like a float tank, I think my life might be complete.
Yeah, I know. They should add a float tank there. They've got a lot of things going on there. They have the cryo and the infrared, and was it Norman Tech or something like that, where that you put those compression things on, and it's supposed to help with your circulation.
Yeah.
And they have a couple more things there, but yeah, the cryotherapy, I'm very interested to see how that does. Not just from my shoulder over here and my elbow over here on the right, but also my back. I have the chronic back issue, lower back, and I'm gonna also see how it goes and refer my little sister to it as well if it's good. I don't know if it's gonna be the same thing. I'm not sure, but the lady there at the health bar seemed to think that it would. That'd be useful for the lower back issues. I think it probably is going to depend on what your issue is, but I'm looking forward to trying it, man.
So this is my dumb brain talking about it, but like it seems like, because doesn't she have like a disc issue? Isn't it like a disc pushing on? Like, is it a disc pushing on something?
As far as I know, yeah, I think it's.
So like I could see how cryotherapy could help with like the inflammation aspect of it, like maybe a pain. It could help pain for sure. I mean, like helping fix the issue if it's a bone on bone situation. That's
sure.
Cold isn't going to fix that, but it could definitely help with the pain. I could imagine.
If there's inflammation, that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
The cryo. I mean, it does a lot of things. I think it helps with your circulation, things like that. It was funny. Al was really explaining a lot to me. He gets really excited about it. He loves it. Like I said, he's there every day because you can get. Like you can buy, they have a membership for one thing, but you can get like 1 to 3 months worth, and it's just like $300. You go as much as you want.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, so if you're going to go every day, that'd be the way to do it.
Yeah.
But he was just talking about how it's almost like all the blood goes to your vital organs, just like it would if you were out in the Arctic and freezing. That's why you get frostbite on your like your fingertips and your toes and things like that, because there's no blood flow there. And then when you get back out, and his lady was saying the same thing, she loves the first 5 minutes after you get back out because you feel like the blood just rushing through your body again to all your extremities. And he was saying about how that just feels like it just blasts the lactic acid out of, the places where it is, piling up, which is causing inflammation. And he says it just kind of blasts through your body and it feels so good. So I'm looking forward to it, man, and I know I have a lot of inflammation. I can feel the inflammation in my body.
Yeah.
And I really don't take enough steps to counter that. I did start soaking the elbow in the ice, the bowl of ice, and that helped a lot. So I could just imagine how getting that cold all over my body, if it doesn't put me into complete shock and I die.
Yeah.
As long as I don't die, I think I'm going to be good.
Man, I don't know if I'd like it then. Like the feeling, because you know how like if you sit on the toilet too long and your legs go to sleep and then you feel, I don't like that feeling, like the blood getting back into my toes and my feet and stuff. If that was like in my whole body, my hands and my feet and everything just feel like I don't know. I don't know if I'll like it or not.
I'll report back to you. I'm going to do it Saturday morning.
Okay.
So
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll be happy to talk about it again on the mic too. Let everybody know if you haven't done cryo yet. I'm gonna venture out there. I'm gonna be the pioneer. Not really. I mean, a lot of people do it, but just for the show's sake, for you and yours and my sake, I'll be the guy that steps out and does it first. Yeah.
Something else is, while we're on this subject, every year when it comes to like New Year's resolutioners and stuff, I'm not downing New Year's resolutioners. I think every year we talk about New Year's resolutioners just because it is a current thing that's happening. Gyms fill up and things like that. And it's smart to get in, if that's what you need, a new year to make a new you kind of thing. If that's what you need, get in there, do it. If you stick with it, great. If you don't, it's no skin off my back. I would like to see more people stick with it. But the people that, it shouldn't bother me as much as it does. But the people that you see that are in the gym like every day, some people twice a day, and you've seen them for months and months, maybe even years in the gym, and nothing changes. Like, you can physically see that they still have the gut that they've always had. That, going into the gym, you're getting some aspect of physical activity, and that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. That's a good thing that you're doing that. But why would you want to pay a membership to go somewhere and not have a goal? And even if you do have a goal, if you've been in there for a year and nothing's changed, then you're not doing, you know what I mean? Like, you're not getting closer to the goal. I don't understand why. Now, I there's people who say, well, I go to the gym to maintain what I've got or something like that. Mm-hmm. I get that too, but that's kind of a weird way to look at things, I think.
So I'm going to step out and defend these folk for a minute.
Okay.
Because I think that there's going to be some people on both sides of this argument, but some people might not be able to help it. Like, it might be completely genetic. They might just have a gut, or they might not be able to. They just don't have the muscle, the potential to build muscle. They don't have the ingredients in the first place. And they can do whatever. And maybe they just don't know enough to switch up their routine. Like, maybe they think they're going to, like, lose weight. Because if you're a guy, a male, and you go in and you're trying just to lose weight with cardio, it's been my experience that that's not the best way to lose weight. Resistance training is what really helps someone to shape up, right? So maybe they just have a bad idea about it because they've been told, you got to get on the treadmill, and just run your butt off. And, that is going to do something over time. But once again, my experience, I can lose so much more weight by lifting than I ever could by, running. So maybe they just don't have the knowledge of that, first of all.
Okay, so that kind of goes into this. So maybe 10 to 15 years ago, maybe I would have a different outlook on this. But there is unlimited avenues for research and for finding good ways of doing things. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, if you put in the effort, you can type in, just go into YouTube and type in best way to do a bench press or something. What I'm saying, like, just anything that you're mm-hmm. looking to do, you can find. It's easy to find.
I get that. Even then, though, it's a lot easier once you know, like, where to look, because you can get on YouTube and find a lot of good information, but you can also find a lot of bad information, mm-hmm. right? A lot of things that aren't going to be so helpful, a lot of just unhelpful information. Mm-hmm. So that can lead you down the wrong path, and it could lead you to discouragement, and it can lead you maybe to injury or something like that. I don't know. I have to think that if someone's being consistent in going to the gym in the first place, like if they keep coming back over that time period that you mentioned, they've got to have some level of, like, real motivation. It's not like they're kicking dirt, unless they're just there to socialize, which some people there are.
We know several people at our gym who spend more time talking to us than they do anything else.
Right. But anyway, for those who are there and they're working out, you're not seeing any difference. It could also be genetics, though, right? I mean, they might have the genetics that just will not allow them to, lose the weight or build the muscle. So, just to come to their defense at first, I think that's a thing. I still think that they're benefiting, though. Like you said, they're there to maintain, because if they are on the treadmill or on the elliptical or the bike, whatever, they're still probably maintaining, and it might be their goal, because you don't necessarily know their goal. Maybe it's not to build muscle. Maybe it's just cardio. Maybe they have heart problems in their family, and they know that if they can the doctor has told them just to stay moving, right? You know, the guy who gets on that one elliptical and looks like he's asleep. He's going literally about 1.5 miles per hour, if that.
Yeah.
On the elliptical, and he keeps his eyes closed. It literally looks like he is sleep exercising. If that could be a thing,
Yeah, I think it is.
It's him.
Yeah.
I would love to get video and post it one day. I would, if we could blur out his face, I would do it. Which kind of take away some of that because you couldn't see him sleeping then. But
Yeah.
you know, for that guy, because I've wondered that myself. It's like, what is he getting out of this? Honestly, yeah, he was there for 3 hours, but he was barely moving, right? But I don't know. Maybe he has found his thing. Maybe he has found his wheelhouse, and that's it. I don't know. I just think that everybody's built different, so I was just coming to kind of take up for him.
That's the interesting thing too. Like me, I think me and you are on the same mindset when it comes to anything in the gym, whether it be cardio or lifting or whatever. Like, we want to get the most out of the least amount of time. Mainly because time is of the essence for both of us in life.
Yes.
You know, I mean, and it was funny. One day you would ask me while we were in the gym, because we were doing muscle rounds, and which anybody who doesn't know what muscle rounds are, it's a Scott Stevenson ideal, whatever you want to consider it, an exercise that
an approach. Yeah.
So basically, you pick a weight that you can do about 15 reps with, and you do 6 sets of 4 reps with 10 seconds in between. And then when you get to your last set, if you can do more than 4 reps, you just keep going until you go to failure. It's just a way to where you can get more reps in less amount of time. And you had asked me one day, you're like, so do you see a benefit in waiting the full 10 seconds? And I was like, well, I mean, that's just the way it's created. It basically just gives you enough rest in between each set. I guess you don't necessarily have to wait the 10 seconds, but I would think that if you can get by and get all of your reps out in those full 6 sets and only go 6 or 7 seconds in between, that you could probably raise your weight or something. You can make change a variable somewhere to get to, you know what I'm saying? I just thought that was funny when you asked me that, because I immediately knew that you were just like, I just want to get it done. Like, this sucks. And I would rather just take the pain as much as I can to get it done. But the problem is that if you can do that, then you need to make it suck more. Like, that's how this works.
Yeah. It's not sucking enough.
Yeah. So my point is like the guy that it goes 1.5 miles an hour or whatever. If I were him, go in there and do as much as you can in 20 minutes.
Right.
Burn just as many calories as you're burning on that thing, and get out of there in 20 minutes and not be there for 2 hours doing not much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
In his defense, though, it might be where he wants to be. Like,
there's that. Yeah.
That may be his happy place, and he just wants to drag it out for as long as he possibly can.
That's a possibility.
But on the other note, one of the reasons why I wanted to get through those muscle rounds, that's for some of the exercises, was because of the stretch. Because during that 10 seconds off, you're stretching out the body part that you're working, and it is sometimes torture. And so I'm like, I would rather just go ahead and push through the exercise than sit here in the stretch for any longer.
And you know that's the majority of the time. That's just like, I don't think that I've seen Scott Stevenson do that. Like, that's just a me thing.
Is that the stretch part?
That I add the stretch in there.
Yeah.
I just think it's an extra variable. People don't take advantage of the stretch near as much in most exercises. Yeah. And like a John Meadows thing he was always big on get as much blood into the muscle as you can, and then do your stretch exercises to stretch out the fascia and things like that too. So I always try to, because I feel like you're doing both of them together. Yeah, so.
And if nothing else, it's a difficult task that makes you mentally and physically stronger when you're done. And so when you do something like that, there's benefit to it. Sometimes, though, it is absolute torture, and I do it for as long as I can, where I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm going to cramp up. I can't do it anymore, so I'd just rather push through. But another thing is, just like you said, I just want to get through with the exercise because it is tough sometimes. And so I would rather push through than prolong it anymore because the rest, I don't know, maybe it's the anticipation of the work that's coming with the next set of 4. I don't know.
Yeah.
The next set of 4 reps. So, but yeah. I understand your point, though. If you can do it in less, if you don't need 10 seconds, then you probably need to increase the suck.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But on the note of resolutions, though, I'm still working out in the evenings, early evenings, right after work. And of course, like we have talked about, I think every year we've been in front of the mics, the New Year's resolutioners are in full force at the beginning of the year at the gym. It's quite thick there. It's very crowded there during that time. That's kind of the rush hour time anyway.
Yeah.
There's two basic rush hours that I've noticed in my time at the gym. The first rush hour, I'm usually not there because I'm at work, but there's been times where I either didn't go to work that day or whatever was happening. I might have went in late or something. And there's like a morning rush, like maybe a 9 o'clock a.m. rush. And that's where they were having a lot of the classes there. So you get a lot of the aerobic type of stuff and the CrossFit area, and then just your regulars there. And then the 4 to 6, maybe even 4 to 7 rush in the evenings, which is the biggest rush. That's the resolutioners rush right now too. And the gym is just packed. But something I noticed I was talking to the guy that likes to talk all the time and do a little bit of workout in between. He was noting, and I noticed it myself, that a lot of these new people, they're all a brand new crowd. You know who's there all the time.
Right.
Like we know each other, even if we don't necessarily talk.
Right.
You give a nod because you see them there all the time. Well, there's all these new people, but a lot of them are already like in shape. They already look pretty good. So it's not like they're the people who are just New Year's resolution dieting or whatever. It's like they've been doing something to stay in shape.
Yeah.
And some of them are actually they look pretty good. So I don't know where those people are coming from.
I wonder if they're coming from
another gym, maybe.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Like they have a contract somewhere else that maybe it ends at the end of the year, and they picked this gym instead, or something like that. There's been several gyms around the area that I've talked to you about that I would maybe kind of like to peek into and just even do a walkthrough just to kind of see. Not because I have anything against our gym, just a difference of scenery. Yeah. Kind of, I don't know. I haven't pulled the trigger on doing it yet, but I'd like to, just to see what else is around us.
Yeah, and I can see the benefit in that. But I'm not good with change, not great with change at least.
Yeah.
And it would be hard pressed for me to pull away. I did visit the gym in the Potosi, one of the gyms over there with my nephew not too long ago, last year.
Which one was that?
I can't remember what it's called. It's the one on P Highway, past the school, the elementary school.
Yeah, okay.
But it's not Tight Body. It's the other one. Tight Body's the one that's there on the main drag. This one's off of the main drag.
Okay.
It's a pretty spiffy gym, though. It is. It even has an inside track, and it's got a little bit of a CrossFit area on the other side of a wall. I like the machines quite a bit, The only thing I don't like is the cable machines they've got. They're okay. I just prefer the ones at our gym better. I just wish there was, I don't know. I think I like the ones at our gym better. But it was nice to I like visiting, and most gyms give you like a day pass that you go visit. And so I think that'd be a fun thing to do anyway.
Yeah.
Especially if you got a little bit of time, because I don't just want to go in, like you said, we're always on a time crunch. I have to compact so much into my workout in such a small amount of time, which I hate, because it's kind of like, it's my happy place too. I like spending more time there just because I get the adrenaline rush, and things feel good. I'm exercising. I like what I do. But yeah, I got this and that to do when I get home, so I really need to hurry up. Anyway, it'd be great if we had enough time to kind of walk around a little bit, get to see everything, get to know everything, and then get to work out at a different gym. So that might be something we could plan on.
Yeah,
might be a little field trip.
Yeah, I mean, there's several around here, like the Civic Center in Farmington. They've got a big gym upstairs. I don't know if that's just membership or if you're going to get a day pass there, but we've got like Essential Fitnesses around us. Several of those. Yeah, there's a place. There's a place in Fredericktown that's supposed to be really good. It's like a 3-story gym down there. So yeah, maybe we'll have to investigate that a little more.
It'd be worth a shot.
Yeah.
But anyway, the New Year's resolutioners, you and I have discussed this before. It is a bane in our existence for a lot of reasons, because the people who are there consistently, now the gym is crowded. You can't get on your machines or your weights or whatever you're trying to do. Because they're crowding in. But I was really impressed by a post by Steve Trezek the other day. Did you see it, where he was talking about being encouraging and trying to get, like being an encouraging factor in the gym and doing whatever you can to assist people to learn and to hang in there, and to make those improvements in their life. And I almost posted. I didn't get around to it. I was driving anyway, so it's you're not supposed to do that. But I was going to remember. Maybe I should post on that later because I was at the stoplight when I saw it. It is when I saw the post, and then the light turned green, so I had to go. So I was like, I don't want to post while I'm driving. But it made me think about how annoyed I get with New Year's resolutioners in the gym and crowd me up because I'm on a time crunch when I could be, encouraging. And, of course, I'm not going to go up and say, hey, man, I noticed that you're way out of shape, but you're in the gym today, so good for you and keep it up. You don't want to do that probably, but there's little things that you can do. I've had some people who I noticed they stuck out like a sore thumb in the gym. They're one of those guys that you could just tell, like they're way out of shape. They've probably never been to a gym if it has been years. They look awkward. They don't know what they're doing some of the times. I start out just by saying hi.
Yeah.
Just to say hi, just to make myself friendly to them especially, just to make them feel more comfortable in the gym. And that way, if they do have any questions, then I don't look like I'm being intrusive by going up and saying, no, you need to do it this way, right? Or, stop doing that. You're going to hurt yourself. Start out slow or whatever. You don't want to come at them too hard and too hot. But if I make myself friendly, then maybe they'll be more likely to just be like, hey, could you show me how to do this? And I'm working on that, man.
That's where my assholishness comes in.
Right.
Because I 100% have had guys in the past that were like big guys at the gym where when I first started, they could tell that I was just first starting, and they made it a point to come up and say, hey, have you tried doing it this way? Or you tried doing it that way or whatever? And that was the end of the conversation. I would love to be that guy to do that for other people, because you do have, especially now with New Year's resolutions and stuff, you see guys in there who you just don't really know what they're doing. They're trying and they're investing the time. And maybe if I were to say something, maybe they're down on themselves because they don't feel like they know what they're doing. And maybe if I were to say something and encourage them, maybe it would keep them at it. But I don't want... That's gonna make me sound like an asshole. I don't want...
It's too late now, man.
I don't want somebody to cling to me.
I know.
Either.
Yeah.
I don't want them to feel like, well, that's the one guy in the gym that's willing to help me out.
Yeah.
And, do this, that, and the other. And I don't mind, like, if somebody wants to come up and ask me, hey, this is how I'm doing this. Should I do it this way instead? Or can you give me a little advice on what to do on chest or something like that? I don't mind that, but I also don't want somebody who's like, every day that they see me in there, they've got to come up and we're best friends. And, because at one time you told me and encouraged me, now I need everything that's in your brain that has to do with lifting. I need, as I said, it made me sound like an asshole, and it did, but it's okay.
I get it. One time, and it's been a while ago, I had a guy who asked me to show him some things. He just straight up asked me. So I'm like, okay, I'll show you, So I just went around and just kind of made him comfortable with all the machines mostly. Didn't really get into any free weight exercises, but he was, he was an older guy, so he was just trying to, and he was there with his wife, really nice couple. But he asked me if I'd be willing to, work with him a little bit. And I was like, sure. This was before you and I started working together. And I said, sure. Next thing I know, he's asking me for my phone number.
Oh, crap.
And I didn't really know this guy, and it probably wouldn't have hurt. But it was too much too fast for me.
This relationship is moving way too fast for me.
I'm not that social. I'm just not. I never really have been. And I wanted to make myself available, and I felt bad because I'd never seen the guy again. I don't even know if he ever came back to the gym. Yeah, I feel bad about that, but man, I don't know, dude. It was weird because all of a sudden he was with his wife, so I don't think that they were hitting on me or anything. It was just like he wanted some help. Like he not just wanted some help on the machines. Like he needed that workout buddy, right?
Yeah.
But he just met me, and I don't know. It was just awkward. And
well, that's the thing too. Is like, I think it's different if say you go in there at a random time, like a time that you're not normally there, and then you have the conversation with somebody. I think it's a less likely scenario that they're going to like cling on to you like that versus if, say, there's somebody in the gym at 4 a.m. when I'm there and they're there at 4 a.m. every morning, then I've got to see that person every morning. And there is a possibility they're going to be like, hey, you need a lifting partner? You want to lift with me every morning? And if they do, and I'm like, no, then then this is going to be very awkward for every time that I go in there from now on, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I know I need, like, even when me and you lifted, the majority of the time we weren't really talking. Like, it was, we still had our headphones in and we were thinking about our own shit and working out our own shit while we were in the gym.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I need. I don't need.
Yeah.
I've at one point in time in my life, like, I wanted to be a personal trainer and I wanted to be somebody who, that was my job, was to help people. And I'm still fine with doing that, but I don't, it's not my job. You know what I mean? Like, I'm willing to help, but I don't want to be that guy.
You don't want to be on that mission.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like, I've been there at that gym longer than a lot of the current people that are there in the rush evening from the 4 to 7 crowd. There's people that's been coming in over the past couple of years or so, and I've watched them grow into, like, I guess, friendships with each other, because I watch. I can't help it. I got my headphones in. I catch myself, like, looking at somebody sometimes. I don't mean to. I'm just half the time just zoning off. And I come to, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I'm staring at you as they're staring at me like, what are you looking at, dude? And not really like that, but they do notice that I'm looking. Anyway, I've seen, like, friendships blossom. I've seen these people start socializing with each other, and now they talk a lot, and some of them even start grouping together and stuff. I don't want to be in that social crowd like you. It's nothing personal. Like, maybe outside of there it would be okay, and I don't, like, I'm friendly with everybody for the most part. There's only a couple of people that have rubbed me the wrong way, or maybe I rubbed them the wrong way, who knows, but I'm friendly with all of them. Like, hey, what's up? And I even asked one guy the other day, he was doing something interesting that I hadn't seen before that I remembered, so I talked to him about it. One of the guys that we see there all the time, the big dude with the, he and his woman are both very, like, big, muscular wise, we see there all the time.
Yeah.
I went and talked to him the other day because he was doing an exercise. I was like, man, that's pretty neat. I want to go ask him more about it, to see what the actual, what he's benefiting from it, and just to know more about why he was doing it. And went and talked to him. Good conversation. I was like, right on, man, thanks. I walked around. I haven't talked to him since.
Yeah.
But I'm comfortable enough to go into anybody in the gym or have them come to me and have that kind of a conversation.
Right.
That's my sweet spot.
Yeah.
That's
it. Did I ever tell you the story about one day when I was in the gym and a guy asked me to spot him on the bench and then called me a liar at the end of it? Did I tell you that story?
Yes, you did.
I don't know if I told anybody told this on the podcast or not. So I was just lifting on my own at the gym, and a guy, pretty big guy, came up, and he was benching like 350 and asked me to come spot him. I was like, all right, yeah, that's fine. So I come over, and then he gets one rep, and he got it on his own. I mean, he struggled, but he got it on his own. I'm not going to give somebody a rep. You know that.
Right, yeah.
I'm not going to give somebody a rep. And then he got it up to the top, and he goes, are you sure that you didn't help lift that up? I was like, yeah. I didn't. I said, I swear. And then his girlfriend comes over, and he basically tells her that I'm a liar. Like, why are you so hard on yourself that you can't believe, for one, like, this is all on you. Like, you're so hard on yourself that you can't believe that you just got that.
Yeah.
And somehow I'm the shithead in your game here, in your mind, that it can't be possible. I'm like, so even if he would have ever asked again for me to do it, I'd be like, sorry, dude, not happening.
He's so hard on yourself that he was taking it out on you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. One other story I have was just last week, at the beginning of the week, I have a new guy who's a talker at the gym, and early in the morning. He's an older guy.
In the morning?
Yeah, he's an older guy. He's probably in his 60s, but you can tell he's been pretty big, like, his whole life. Like, he's definitely a lifter. Like, he always, wears a lifting belt all around the gym, no matter what he's doing, and this, that, and the other. And so he's talked to me a couple of times, and he's also a guy that, like, doesn't care that you're wearing headphones.
Yeah. To
come up and talk to you, even though, like, if I make it a point to kind of have an annoyed face if he makes me take my headphone out of my ear, he still doesn't care. He's just like, he's got something to say that doesn't matter to my life at all.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's done that a couple of times. Well, then he solidified me not really wanting to talk to him. And probably because he doesn't know, and it's not on him. He doesn't know maybe what we know. But when I was walking in the gym, walking to the locker room, and he was up on the treadmill, and I had my Muscle Farm sock cap on. And I walk in and he yells at me from across the gym and goes, MP. And I said, yeah, Muscle Farm. And he goes, no, Redcon 1, man. And I was like, dude. And
That's triggering.
So guess what I was doing? As I'm walking into the locker room, and as I'm in the locker room, before I come out, I'm thinking, if this guy comes up to me and talks to me about this again, what am I going to say?
Uh-huh.
And so I'm figuring out in my head, like playing out the scenario on what I'm going to say. And I came to the conclusion that if it does happen, what I'm going to say is I can't stand behind a company who is owned and ran by somebody who is such a disgrace in the supplement industry. And I was just going to leave it at that and walk away and see what he says. Because I'm just curious if people know. If people know. And I still see on Facebook, like I see ads that come through for Redcon 1. Okay, that's fine. Big name bodybuilders and big names in the supplement in bodybuilding industry who I respect and who have put their lifeblood into that sport that are sponsored by Redcon 1 and things like that. But those aren't, you're not going to see these people come out against Aaron Singerman. And I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
But the guy didn't say anything to you anymore?
He didn't. And that's where I screw with my own head too, because I just want to be, I always want to be ahead of the game in case a scenario comes up. I want to know, I don't want to be caught off guard.
Yeah, no, I think that's okay.
Because I would rather be ready and the conversation not happen than to not be ready, then stumble over my words whenever they come up, and then I look like the idiot.
Absolutely.
In the long run.
I agree, because I've way too often been not ready and the conversation comes up. So I would rather be armed and ready with the information I need to fire back if and when that conversation does happen. And even I found that it's beneficial to even be a little bit disappointed when it doesn't happen, because I was ready. As opposed to being disappointed that I wasn't ready, and I knew I had good points, but I just wasn't ready to utilize those points. That drives me insane, man. It happens to me way too often. Yeah, I win so many arguments 5 minutes after the argument's done.
And you can't, and then you just look like an idiot if like the conversation happens, you just vomit out of your mouth, and then they walk away, and then you think about it a minute later. You can't go up to them and start that conversation again. The conversation's over. You lost.
I know.
I don't want to lose.
I know.
I don't want to lose.
I hate that. But I think a lot of people just don't know the background behind Redcon 1, I'm sure. All they know is the face of Redcon 1, which is, military first responder, veterans, all that good stuff that they throw out there, which, are good causes that we could get behind, but they don't know the fact that they've been, in litigation for having substances in their products that were not supposed to be there, and that they've got a track record of that, actually, So I've been really happy on that note with, I've been using Chris Gethin's Cage products, and the more that I use it, the more I research just on his, the way that he presents the ingredients and everything. And True Nutrition does this to some degree as well. They give you, I forget which product it was. I think it was one of their labs product, which is a sub-product of their products. But they give you like the links to some studies from, I don't think it was PubMed, but something along those lines, where you can see peer-reviewed studies. If you care to really, if you want to know what you're using and what the actual benefits are, and not just take some bodybuilder's word for it. Because I guarantee you, probably those bodybuilders that are representing Redcon 1 probably don't even use Redcon 1. They probably use something else that they,
I bet they do, because they're getting it for free.
Maybe.
They probably don't use all of the products, but they probably say, hey, I do want this, or I do want that, and
maybe they pick and choose so they can, and I guess that gives them some truth in their advertising as well, so they'll use something, but I guarantee it's not the only thing they use. And it's not, another thing that people need to understand is it's not that product, no matter what it is, it's not that one product that's getting that person to look like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so much that goes into a bodybuilder, that just because they use this protein powder, or they use this, whatever, this pre-workout, whatever it is, from this company, that's not the thing that made them that way. It's one of the many, many factors that they use.
On top of hard work.
That's the biggest factor,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
your diet as well, your nutrition, the actual food that you take, the food that you eat.
Yeah.
That none of these supplement companies own. They don't own protein per se, like meat that you eat, that you buy at the store and you cook and you eat it. And they don't own the hard work that they do. They just own that one product that helps to supplement that person's workout. But people, I think it's natural for us to think, well, this guy uses this product, therefore I want to look like him and I need to use that product as well.
Well, I mean, that's what that's the whole thing behind getting a bodybuilder to be a sponsor for to sponsor a bodybuilder, right? Is because they can be a face for you.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
because people automatically think, well, I want to look like him, so therefore I need to use that product of this particular company.
Right. I like Caged a lot. I like that. Having Chris Gethin on our show is one of my favorite shows that we've had, just because I follow Chris Gethin. I've done his workouts, and I've and all that for years since I started bodybuilding. And he's one of those guys that will start a program looking a certain way and then say, these are my goals leading up to it. And then he'll make videos of him shopping and show what he's buying and all those kinds of things. And then you watch his transformation along with your own as you're, lifting and stuff like that. And plus, all the health aspects that go into all of their products and how health conscious the Caged company is and things like that. I really like that too. The new product that they just came out with, though, I think I told you about, like that Elite or whatever.
Yeah, the Elite pre-workout.
Man, you're not going to make me pay $60 for a pre-workout for 20 servings. I'm not doing it, dude.
To be fair, it's 55.
I'm not doing it, man. I love you, Chris, but I can't, dude. I can't.
I don't know if that. I don't know, man. I mean, you'd have to be like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that's all about.
Yeah.
I haven't really researched it enough. I looked at the list of ingredients, but I didn't really research it to delve into it.
Now,
like that.
Here's one thing I will tell you, that if you're talking about a brand like Caged run by somebody like Chris Gethin, that's probably the right price that needs to be on it, because they're going to be focused on the exact ingredients that they want for you to be successful with that supplement. And for them to, a company still has to make a profit, but for them to make a profit and also put the actual good ingredients in that's probably the right price that it needs to be.
Yeah.
But I don't know that $30 extra on a pre-workout is going to benefit me in my journey as much as $30 extra in a pre-workout, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you probably, for people like me, I'll just talk about myself. That money would probably be better spent to a protein or to a vitamin of some kind or something like that I need, because I don't know. I don't think that Elite pre-workout is something that's really going to benefit me that much. But it's for people that, somebody out there, I'm sure, can benefit from it. And I just love the visibility, what's the word I'm looking for? The fact that you can, he puts all of his ingredients out there, and states how much is in each ingredient. Every one of them, he shows exactly how much is in that particular supplement. Yeah. Not all companies do that. Like you said, some of them just put proprietary blend, and that's all they give you. Some of them list a bunch of ingredients, but then put the total grams down there. I mean, it's still showing what they all equal up to, but not each single ingredient. And he does that. He has that visibility, And he also makes videos. If you go and follow his social media, he makes videos and he'll talk about just one ingredient that's in a certain product. Yeah. And tell you why it's good for you, tell you what why they do it, why they derive it from something this way instead of this way. What was it that we were talking about? Was it aminos? Yeah, they were getting aminos from feathers. From bird feathers, right? What the hell? Where did we learn that? He says that's pretty common.
That's the same guy that figured out we can drink cow's milk, right? That's the same guy that learned that process, right? Yeah, I guess he's a weird dude.
Let's try to get amino acids from this feather, see what happens. I could put it in a supplement. I don't know who figured that out. That's ridiculous. But Chris Gethin was the one that exposed it to me and said most of these supplement companies are getting their amino acids from bird feathers. Like, what?
Yeah, right.
What? I guess I'd never really thought about where they extracted that particular ingredient. But it's I don't know. That doesn't even seem right. But, True Nutrition, that's where I still get all my protein, pretty much, almost all of it. And I still get my multivitamins, and I've even started buying my vitamin D from them. they're the ones that really, in the very beginning, give me the idea to research what ingredients, what they are, like away from them. Like, so I see the list of ingredients, and then I'll go and I'll look up peer-reviewed journals. You got to look out, you got to be careful about where you're looking up your information, right? Don't go to Wikipedia. That's one of the first things you learn when you're doing research is don't go to an unreputable, is that right, site, a site that's not reputable. But you go and you find some journals, articles, you find some information, you go to reputable sites, reputable originating sites, find out what these chemicals actually do in the first place to your body, and then you kind of can stack all the information up and look at that supplement that True Nutrition or Chris Gethin or whomever is selling. Then you kind of get an idea about what it's doing for your body, and then you really start to put some science behind your workout.
Right.
I mean, I know a lot of people that do that, but I learned anybody can do that. You don't have to be a professional bodybuilder to put that kind of thought into your workout, and that's huge. Be your own scientist, be your own doctor to some degree.
I mean, it's enough that if you research and you learn like what products are best. I mean, your favorite pre-workout may have a lot of good things in it, but may have stuff that you're paying for that you don't need or that aren't going to benefit you at all. And if you research, you may be able to make your own concoctions. You may be able to buy citrulline and beta alanine and a few other products and make your own thing each day for a lot cheaper than you paying $50 for a pre-workout from so-and-so company, or something like that. I mean, it's very important to do the research on everything that you're putting something in your body, right? I mean, it's very important to think about. But True Nutrition, I was just thinking about that today when I was thinking about topics. I kind of figured this is the way we were going to end up when we started talking about New Year's resolutions and stuff. Not just because we, of course, have a promo code for them for 5% off if you type in CEP in, but
at checkout.
But still, there's very few brands in the industry that I wholeheartedly trust any product that they put out, and that's one of them. Probably the biggest one. And I mean, there's some products that they have on there that I don't take. I can still promote that because I do believe that what they're putting out is the best quality product you're going to get in that market. But they just know their shit. Just to put it bluntly, they know their shit, and there's been nothing that I've gotten from them that I've had any issues with. And I just loaded up I bought vitamin D, I bought vitamin C. I actually bought 2 True multivitamins bottles because I bought one for my wife because she needs to be on something. I bought a True joint complex, and I bought some MPA, which is Matt Porter approved, muscle intrusion, which is a intra carb workout, cyclic dextrin, and some good things in there too to drink while you're lifting. But stuff gets pricey, and I get it, but there's a company like that, like they even promote themselves as they have basic labels on everything that they ship out. They don't spend a crap load of money to have artwork done and all that kind of stuff, which does sell. Artwork, we talked about that before.
Absolutely.
Artwork sells. Yeah. It does, but that doesn't mean that it's beneficial for you for what's in that bottle. Yeah. And True Nutrition will promote that the money that they don't spend towards that goes to all the studies and all the work that it takes to give you the highest quality product that they can get you in that product. So
their packaging is very plain.
Yeah.
Very plain. And so they don't sell anything based off of that kind of marketing.
Right.
Like that one pre-workout that I took for a while, it was good stuff, but it was called Cannibal Riot. Even just the name, Cannibal Riot, that sounds like something that's just crazy, that makes you want to jump out of your skin and just power through freaking, all the workout, whatever it can give you. The packaging was also very, warlike, and a lot of it is, it's very action packed or almost violent, like, it's time to go to war type of stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is because it gives you that idea that this is what it's going to do to you, right? But what I found is you really need to forget the packaging and look at the the ingredients and make a science out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I like True Nutrition because they don't give you that. They just give you the plain old packaging. And if you like it, you do. If you don't, then I don't know. Go buy it somewhere else.
And there's actually there's still a product through True Nutrition that is a John Meadows product, the Perry MD, which is another intra-workout supplement.
Okay.
It's very good, but it's kind of pricey. It's like $62 or something like that, I think, for a 2-pound jug of it. But it does work.
Okay.
It's very good stuff. So
I'm sure it does.
Just anything and everything to promote John Meadows, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Still, even after he's gone, there's I don't know how many hours of footage they have, but they're still putting out videos on John Meadows' YouTube site.
Like new content?
Yeah.
Wow.
So unless they're reposting old videos, I think they're probably just putting out. I mean, they probably have thousands of hours of footage of different things to put out that they just never did, or they're just sitting on, that they were going to put out anyways, even if he was still here.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty cool. His legacy's still living on, and people are still paying attention to all that kind of stuff. So
Yep.
I like it.
Yep.
Yep.
He's tortured us in the gym many a times through his videos.
He has, for sure.
Even from beyond the grave, we still can benefit from his torture.
Yep.
It's good kind of torture, though.
Right.
So, all right, man. Good stuff.
Yes, sir.